สวัสดีค่ะ
Hello.
Hello, Lucrezia.
How are
How
you?
very good yourself.
I'm good. I just realized I didn't put the CESRA background. I have two
Mm,
minutes to do it. Let me see if I
It's
can
okay.
find.
It's okay. You can put your file background. It's okay. I think so for me. So I see from participants' names, there are lots of people coming from different organizations. Mm, okay. Do you have presentations or just only a talk or any presentation coming?
I have a presentation,
All
yes.
right, good. And um, good afternoon to everyone from Thailand. Is anyone want to chat a little bit with me, like checking your microphones or your picture or whatsoever? Is there anyone? Seem like no. Seem like no. I see คุณคริสเตียนคุณคริสเตียนสวัสดีค่ะ
Sawadikap.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Sorry, I was looking to turn on the camera and the microphone.
อ๋อ
Hello, everybody, and hello, Lucrezia.
Ciao, Christian. So nice to see you.
Yeah, the same. I'm looking forward to listen to your presentation. I think it will be very, very
Yeah,
interesting.
when I saw your name, I was like, he's waiting for the big picture from the region. Actually, it's very interesting. The end of the presentation.
Okay, good, good. Okay,
ค่ะ
I turn off the microphone and the camera again to make it easier, I think, but discuss after your presentation again.
Yeah, I would like to have some exchange after the presentation. I will try to be brief, but comprehensive, so we can also exchange on what FAO can further support doing on the topic.
Yeah, because it's a very technical issue. Very often people find it boring, but it's a very important one. The lab quality and the skills and so on, especially if we speak about soil health, because it's totally different from fertilizing issues. Okay, let's discuss this later.
Thank you, Christian. Okay, I think we should start our sessions because the time is just here and seem like many people and probably more people joining us later. So, good morning, everyone. Probably good afternoon as well for some people in Thailand, and good evening. Welcome to CESRA Talk, the I think the seventh time, the seventh CESRA talk on soil governance analysis, current status and way forward for promoting the health of Asian soils. So as you know, soil health has become important issue, particularly in Asia, where soil health is closely linked to food security, climate resilience, sustainable land management, and economic development. So the talk today will provide insights into the current status and way forward for promoting soil health across the regions as Lucrezia mentioned earlier. So our guest today is Miss Lucrezia Caon, a land management officer at the Food and Agriculture Organizations of the United Nations, or FAO, as you know, or FAO, Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific. She's also the external advisor of CESRA, working actively with us for years. And Lucrezia gonna bring extensive experience in sustainable land management, soil governance, and policy analysis. And she works closely with many countries across Asia and the Pacific to support decision making and promotion sustainable soil and land use practices. So we are truly honored to have you with us today and share expertise and perspective on this critical topic. Lucrezia, thank you for joining us. And if you are ready, I think the floor can be yours. And following that, we're gonna come for the questions and group discussion later. Are you ready for that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Good
And on the floor,
morning.
yes.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for being at this talk. I know soil governance can sound scary to many of you. You might be very technical, meaning like going to the field, work in a lab, doing other type of work and thinking like, why should I care about soil governance? It's not related to my work. But I hope that through this presentation, I will convince you that it is related to your work and it definitely influences your work and you can definitely influence decision making, meaning like policy. If you allow me, I will share my screen. I hope you can see. I will put it now in presentation mode.
Okay.
Okay. So let me start by giving you some by setting the scene a bit, also to tell you why should we care about soil governance. Now, I work for the FAO, so besides all the functions that soil provide, I would like to start by touching on something that it's of great interest to all of us, that is food security. So what you have on screen is the latest report from the region on food security and nutrition. As you can see here, despite progresses over the years, the region remain highly food insecure. And looking at the sub-region, Southeastern Asia is the sub-regions with the higher prevalence of food of undernourishment. So this is like an alarming data that we should pay attention and we should think at solving somehow. What is also emerged from the report is that gender inequalities persist. So women experience higher food insecurity than men in most sub-regions. This is also something that we should pay attention to. But so what can we do? Well, there is a pressing need for both immediate and long-term comprehensive yet targeted actions to tackle the complex issue of hunger, food insecurity, and malnutrition. And central to these efforts is the transformation of agri-food systems. Now, today we focus about soil, meaning that we have to look at transforming agri-food system at the production level. Three key factors that not only influence agri-food systems, but also have a profound impact on food security and nutrition, and are common to all member states in the region, are economic growth, economic and political cross-country interdependencies, and climate variability. Now I would like to zoom in into climate variability. So climate variability and extreme weather events pose significant risk to agricultural outputs and food availability through supply chain disruptions, increased pests and diseases and livestock stress, and further complicating efforts to ensure food security and access to and affordability of healthy diets for all populations in the region. What you see on screen is the link to a very nice interactive webpage by FAO that show the impacts of climate variability on food security. And what it's stated in here, looking at the available data, is that an increase of occurrence and intensity of disasters is the new normal. Now, the economic impact of disasters is for the region is equal to $49 billion if we look only at their impact on crop and livestock production. What you see on the right side of the screen is this big regional figure translated in average daily dietary energy supply per capita. So what is the disaster-induced production loss equivalent in average daily dietary energy supply per capita? And if you go to the website that I put on screen, you can have these further broken down into nutrients. What are agri-food systems vulnerable to? Well, they're very, very vulnerable to drought, storms, floods, pests, earthquake, extreme temperatures, and wildlife. Now, soil and the impact that the role that soil can play in buffering the adverse impacts of these threats is common to many of the threats reported in here. And linking to these other threats to food security relates to biodiversity loss, landscape fragmentation, waste, and soil degradation. As I told you in this previous slide, soil can play a critical role, like soil health, in buffering the adverse impacts of, for example, drought and floods. But only if soil health is preserved. If soil are degraded, this is another driver of food insecurity. Looking at the status of the World Soil Resources Report 2015, the region is particularly sensitive to soil erosion, organic carbon change, salinization and sodification, nutrient imbalance, and then all the remaining soil threats in priority order, as you can see them on the screen. So what can we do? What can FAO do, and what FAO has been doing to tackle this issue under a soil governance point of view? Before getting into the technical details, I would like to recall you that FAO operates following the 4 betters. So better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. And the FAO Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific has its own set of regional priorities. 4 main regional priorities: agri-food system transformations, this link to what I just presented, climate action, biodiversity and natural resource management, inclusive and equitable rural development, building sustainable resilient agri-food systems in the Pacific seats. So global, regional, and then digging into the regional, we also have a specific strategy for soil. The strategy of the office on soil was developed to support and promote the practice of sustainable soil management in the region, building on, of course, office priorities that are still connected to country priorities, and the 2022-2030 action framework of the Global Soil Partnership. In the strategy, we tackle the different key dimensions of the topic, meaning like we focus on creating enabling environment to the practice of sustainable soil and land management and transformation of agri-food systems, increasing food security and country resilience to the adverse impacts of climate change and market shocks through capacity building, We also look at assessing and monitoring the impacts of sustainable soil and land management on soil health and its overarching contribution to One Health, and ultimately boosting partnership and collaboration. Now, today we talk about soil governance. Soil governance fall under the creation of enabling environments to the practice of sustainable soil management. But why we need of this enabling environment? So with this slide, I would like to tell you a bit why it's important to have socioeconomic and political environments that support whatever action we are taking on the field. Because very often when we implement projects, we see that after the project ends, everything stops and farmers or institutions go back to their usual practices. And this is because many times we focus only on building capacities on what we think it's good without considering the context. So without ensuring that the target people, the beneficiaries of our actions, once we leave, are left in the proper conditions and in a sustainable way to continue the practice that we promoted through our interventions. So indeed, as you can see here, the creation of socioeconomic and political environment is critical to the long-term sustainability of the practice. Looking at the social dimensions, we look at rising awareness and knowledge about, for example, soil conservation, encourage farmer participation, community cooperation and knowledge sharing, and respect local traditions and indigenous soil management practices. Looking at the economic dimension, we provide access to finance, resources, initiatives, incentives, and markets. We look at enabling farmers to adopt sustainable practices without economic hardship and support long-term investments in soil health and productivity. Lastly, the dimensions that we will touch upon today, so the political dimension, looks at establishing policies and regulations that protect soil resources, promote land tenure security and farmer rights, and support also extension services, research, and enforcement of soil conservation laws. So in here, in this last point, you already see that I'm going a bit beyond policy. I'm touching on technical aspects. This will become even more evident as we advance on the presentation. So a strong policy and governance framework is essential to enable, scale, and sustain sustainable soil management practices. Here you have 5 blocks. They are in sort of chronological order. From left to right, up to down, of what should happen in a political context that is sustainable. First of all, we need of policies and regulations. So in this case, we have to establish clear legal frameworks to prevent soil degradation, restore degraded soils, and promote sustainable soil management, including land use planning. Remember this will come back later when we analyze the outcomes and the findings of the national policy briefs that FAORAP supported preparing over the year. We also need to improve coordination among ministries to ensure coherent soil governance, and we have to pay attention to cross-sectoral and cross-thematic policies integration. Land tenure security and governance. This is also extremely important when we talk about soil governance to ensure the long-term sustainability of practices. We need to look at securing land and users' rights to encourage land users to invest in long-term sustainable soil management practices. And we also need of a transparent and equitable land governance to reduce conflicts and promote stewardship of soil resources. Cross-cutting to this, we have incentives and economic policy instruments. We need eventually to introduce subsidies, tax incentives, or payment for ecosystem services to reward sustainable practices, align policies to discourage soil degrading practices, and support risk-sharing mechanisms that reduce barriers to adoption. Next comes institutional support and capacity building. We have to strengthen agricultural extension services to promote awareness raising and capacity building, and invest in soil research, data systems, and monitoring to inform evidence-based policy making. All these elements should be included in the purple box on the top. So they should be part of policies and regulation. Policies and regulation should make clear reference to all the other blocks in these slides. And not last, we have participation, accountability, and enforcement. So here we talk about promote inclusive policy making that involves farmers, local communities, women, and youth. Ensure transparent enforcement of policies to maintain credibility and compliance, and also use robust monitoring and evaluation systems to track soil health outcomes and assess policy effectiveness, generating evidence and feedback that directly inform policymakers and enable continuous policy learning, adjustment, and improvement. Now, as I anticipated over the year, FAORAP welcome the decision of the Asian Soil Partnership to support on the topic, and we started to support on the topic also of soil governance by preparing national policy briefs on the topic. And I will tell you more about the details of this document later in the coming slides, but this is just to let you know that at present we have 2 national policy briefs that were prepared but will not be published because of the political situation of the country. So they were prepared with the country offices and will be used for internal use only. These are Afghanistan and Myanmar. But we have other 6 policy briefs that were published already, and you can access them well, either by Googling them or by clicking on the hyperlink in these slides. And the policy briefs that are currently available are the ones for Bhutan, Cambodia, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Philippines, and Vietnam. We have another policy brief that will be published soon. It's already in the FAO publication system, and is the one for Indonesia, and 4 policy briefs that are under final review. These are Thailand, Bangladesh, Mongolia, and Laos. And we have the policy brief for China under preparation. Now, you see 2 countries that are not participating to these activities. These are Korea and Japan. And keep this in mind because when I present about the findings of the policy briefs that we presented and published already, the reason why Korea and Japan are not writing their policy briefs will ring a bell to you. Basically, these 2 countries could not commit to prepare policy briefs on the topic because of overlapping mandates between ministries. So it was not clear under what ministry this policy brief could be prepared. And I'm talking about ministries because these policy briefs were prepared with the national focal points to the GSP and were endorsed by their ministries. So the logo of the ministries that were involved in the preparation of this document is reported on the back cover of the publication. Now, what are these policy briefs about and why we prepare them? Well, they represent a very first step in the work that FAO started and is promoting with the support and in collaboration with country, of course, on the topic. This policy brief aimed at reviewing and analyzing soil-related strategies and legislative frameworks in countries, with the aim of providing recommendations to policymakers for addressing existing and potential policy gaps and strengthening implementation and monitoring of impact mechanisms. Everything was assessed against 4 criteria that are legislative frameworks, institutional arrangements, implementation, and feedback system. Now, I will report the integrated findings of this document according to these 4 criteria. So let's start from legislative frameworks. So I'm not going into the findings of each country. I invite you to read the policy briefs if you want to have like specific country-specific information. But doing an integrated gap analysis, we are talking about gaps attention in here. Doing an integrated gap analysis on legal frameworks, we noticed that there is, in basically all countries, an absence of a dedicated soil management strategy that results in major soil threats being unaddressed or weakly regulated. For example, microplastics, fertilizer runoff, and pesticides residues. We have fragmented policy frameworks with soil issues embedded in broader agriculture, climate, and disaster prevention policies, resulting in siloed approaches that weaken soil protection governance and affecting oversight. We have weak legal instruments, including the lack of measurable soil health targets and the comprehensive national soil health assessment systems. We have limited focus on the root causes of soil degradation, with socioeconomic strategies prioritizing short-term soil quality improvements over long-term soil health. And ultimately, we also have gaps in implementation and integration, including the absence of clear soil rehabilitation guidelines, poor cross-sector coordination, weak coordination across regions within the country, and limited integration of soil management into land use policies. Looking at institutional arrangements, we found out that, again, this applies to basically all countries that we already work with. We have weak institutional coordination with ministries and agencies operating within their respective silos without explicitly addressing soil management as a cohesive priority. You remember the case of Japan and Korea that I mentioned before? There are fragmenting and overlapping governance, leading to inefficiencies, unclear accountability, and inconsistent or conflicting soil conservation policies and implementation. Capacity gaps at subnational levels, as local and provincial authorities lack adequate resources and expertise to monitor soil quality and enforce regulations consistently. There is also limited stakeholder participation, reduces inclusiveness, transparency, and local ownership of soil management decisions, and poor communication and data sharing across institutions, which is undermining evidence-based decision-making and the overall effectiveness of soil conservation efforts. Looking at implementation, we have weak enforcement and compliance, particularly at the local level. And this is due to inadequate monitoring, insufficient penalties for non-compliance, and limited legal follow-up, allowing persistent violations, for example, in the case of industrial pollution. In here, I underlined penalties because it was quite curious. Some countries do not have penalties. Other countries that do have penalties, they do not really enforce them because they are afraid, because the penalties come from the government side, right? So they are afraid to lose or actually to upset farmers, and so to break this relation that is already quite fragile between the government and farmers or land users. So we have these two realities. Either there are no penalties, or if there are, they are not really enforced. But this is also risky. So as you can see in the notes, gaps in monitoring and legal follow-up result in persistent violation of laws. Again, there was a specific reference to industrial pollution, and reliance on voluntary compliance and incentives over penalties, because if there are no penalties, maybe countries prefer to have incentives, including like training, education, or like open forums with stakeholders. Well, in this case, this can also reduce accountability and deterrence. Second point, when it comes to implementation, the gaps analysis found out financial constraints, including limited public budgets, donor funding gaps, and shortages of skilled personnel, which hinder implementation, research, monitoring, and extension services. We have institutional capacity constraints, including shortage of skilled personnel. Uneven implementation across regions, and again, here when I talk about regions, I talk about regions within a same country. So across regions and sectors, driven by disparities in enforcement mechanisms, limited and or uneven distribution of financial resources, including the incentives, insufficient extension services, and weak technical capacity for implementing and monitoring strategies and frameworks. And the area that are more penalized by all of these are rural area, of course, remote areas, and mountainous areas. Inequitable access to incentives and support, where smallholders and marginalized farmers face bureaucratic barriers to access incentives. Poor coordination and stakeholder engagement, combined with limited monitoring and impact assessments, undermine the effectiveness of soil management efforts. And lastly, low policy prioritization of soil health because of poor soil advocacy. So basically, if nobody talks about soil, nobody cares, right? So not even policymakers. And it's not only a problem of advocacy, it's also a point that everything is connected, right? So you have advocacy, and then it's also a problem of weak data collection and information systems, lack of integration of soil health indicator in land use monitoring system, lack of monitoring and comprehensive impact assessment, and legal frameworks focus mainly on administrative management rather than soil protection outcomes. Looking at the last criteria, that is the feedback mechanism, we have weak and fragmented feedback systems. So even with periodic assessments of soil and land policies, there are gaps in feedback mechanism and no real-time mechanism to assess soil governance effectiveness or systematically evaluate soil policies and guidelines. There is insufficient soil data and monitoring. Data collection and management systems are underdeveloped. Monitoring and evaluation of existing guidelines is weakly enforced, and dedicated staff and resources are lacking. So in this case, we have disparities in technical and financial capacity across provinces, especially in resource-poor regions. And these affect the consistency, comprehensiveness, and equity of participation in feedback mechanism. We have limited integration of research and evidence into policy making. And this is because research remains fragmented, poorly linked to national and regional planning processes, and with limited cross-sector collaboration on critical soil issues, such as you can see again, pesticide residues and fertilizer runoff. For your reference, the majority of the policy briefs make clear statements on pesticides residues and fertilizer runoff. And in some cases, policies really focus only on enhancing soil fertility, because they think that you increase soil fertility, you increase production. So that's the focus that the government is currently giving to the policies. Minimal stakeholders and community involvement in decision making, resulting in weak feedback from local levels and delayed responses to on-the-ground soil management challenges, poor policy learning and adaptation. So even where feedback are available, they rarely leads to timely policy revisions due to weak enforcement, limited coordination, and resource constraints. And then lack of enabling policies for participation and financing. So there are no clear mechanisms to promote public engagement in soil protection or attract sustained funding for sustainable soil management. Getting to the end, how can we solve this situation, right? How can we address these gaps? Well, again, this is an integrated analysis looking at all the policy briefs that are published already. So what did country recommended? How do they foresee to improve the situation? All of them agreed on establishing legally binding national soil policies. Sometimes they call them national soil strategies, but let's say here in this presentation, let's call them national soil policies with a centralized coordinating body aligned with climate change, biodiversity, and agricultural policies, and integrated with stronger land use policies. This is critical. Basically, all countries mention about land use. land use cannot be separated from sustainable soil management. They are two interconnected and dependent one from the other. And the stronger land use policies to ensure cross-sector coordination and prevent the fragmentation of prime agricultural land for other uses. The policy should be accompanied by an action plan, regulations, and guidelines with strong enforcement and evaluation mechanism. So again, here they were calling again to penalties for non-compliance and incentives, as well as the inclusion of measurable soil health targets. Second point, all these slides is actually about policy. Second in order comes improve research integration by ensuring that research findings are systematically synthesized and translated into actionable insights for policymakers and planners. So we talk about maybe creating formal channels for integrating scientific research into policy development and regional land use planning. Then we have to promote participatory governance to integrate community feedback into policies to ensure that these are locally relevant and evidence-based. And we have to strengthen enforcement mechanisms for existing soil-related laws, particularly at the local level by increasing monitoring through regular assessments, strict penalties for non-compliance, and incentives for voluntary compliance. Lastly, we have to implement robust policy monitoring and evaluation frameworks to track soil health and assess the effectiveness of soil governance initiatives. And here in this case, for example, it can be considered to regularly publish soil health and enforcement actions data, as well as compliance rates to ensure accountability and transparent decision making. Now, in these slides, I compiled recommendations that are more related to policy formulation and implementation. But as I said at the beginning of this presentation is not only about policy. It also regards like technical aspects that feed policy and relate to policy implementation. So what countries also recommended is to develop or strengthen, if this is already present, national soil health monitoring and information systems, consolidating existing data and using real-time data from farmers, so basically actively involve farmers in data collection, or otherwise using data coming from remote sensing, GIS, and laboratory analysis to track progress, support adaptive management, and ensure transparency, accountability, and alignment with international frameworks. They also talk about agriculture extension services. So it's very important to improve the decentralization of these services through enhanced interagency coordination and expanded the training programs for extension officers, but also for farmers and local communities. So they were really calling for specific training programs, like stakeholder-specific training programs. And also they were proposing the introduction of a certification system for the products reaching the market that comes from sustainable soil management practices. And lastly, they talk about increasing national and international funding. This is critical. All countries claim not to have enough money to promote soil health activities. So we need of more funds for soil health assessment, management, conservation, and rehabilitation. This includes capacity building, technology transfer, and regulations enforcement. And also they would like to establish dedicated funding mechanism for programs that address critical soil issues or that support farmers and grassroots organizations, and also that invest in innovative soil technologies for soil conservation and rehabilitation. Now, getting to my last slide, what is the way forward? Well, we would like to finalize the policy briefs for all countries. At present, we have about 15 countries, but we have maybe some other 10 to approach in this work, and we hope that following the example of the countries that already produce their national policy briefs, other countries that did not engage in these activities already feel like participating in it. Based on the outcomes or the findings of the national policy briefs, we would like to write a regional report on soil governance. And as you could see in these slides, countries are not alone. They all share the same concerns with some different details, but overall they all face the same situation. So because of this, we would like to include in this regional report some recommendations for strengthening national and regional frameworks on soil, and eventually bring the topic to the attention of ASEAN for coordinating actions at the regional level. And as FAO, what we can also do is to develop ad hoc projects to support countries on advancing on soil governance. For example, we just closed a project in Vietnam in which we supported the country in developing the national soil strategies and action plan. And this is because of the request of the government for this type of support. But as the topic is gaining more and more attention and relevance in the region, we anticipate more and more countries to move the same request. So with this, I close my presentation. I thank you very much for your attention. I apologize for my voice. I'm full of allergies, so I struggle to breathe, but I hope that everything was clear. Thanks.
Thank you, Lucrezia, for your informative and great presentations. And your point was clear to us. And you spent half an hour. That's good time. We have half an hour to do some questions and discussions. I think the time, yeah. So, Mr. Ispak, are you going to ask your question directly? Yes.
Yeah, I had already messaged the question, but I would like to once say again, if we see, especially in the tropical world, heavy rainfalls are depleting the nutrition in the soils because of excessive leaching of macro and micronutrients. So if we see most of our soils in the tropics are depleted from nutrients. So in the long geological time scale, if we see the soil are the product of weathering of rocks, though there is an organic content in them, but this inorganic nutrients which forms the major part of the soil. So is FAO initiating some special rock powders which could be bought into the soil and supplementing, conditioning the soils for the deficiency they are having because of excessive rainfall or other human activities which has weakened our soils, excessive cropping and other processes? Because there is one technique, negative emission technology we called enhanced rock weathering, which is being considered one of the techniques in which we pulverize basalt rock powders put into the agriculture farms. They give us nutrition to the soils and simultaneously capture carbon from the air, and the bicarbonate when reaches to the ocean, they help in ocean deacidification. So it is gaining a momentum in different parts of the world. So I would like to know if FAO is having some program like this, where rocks for soil or rocks for crops are considered as one of the solution to synthetic fertilizers.
Thanks, but I don't know, you want me to answer each question or you want to compile all questions first?
Do you please answer the question?
Okay.
I think, yeah.
We don't do, FAO doesn't do research, but we work on what proved to work already. So we don't have a specific program for this, but under different projects, so we can consider looking at the scientific findings, right? If this method proves to work or not, we can consider including it in projects, like as a recommendation for improving soil.
Yeah, there are enough evidences, a lot of work going on, published in some peer-reviewed journals. I can share that. And I myself published from some papers on India's capacity. So it will be very nice if we can have some discussion on this to see what is the potential of rocks in feeding the population reviving the soils, and good results are coming because there are some startups working in different parts of the world. They are using some basalt rock powders, and they had seen that increase in the yield is there, build up of carbon in the soils is there. So many good things are happening with the certain rock powders when we add to the farms. So if I have a
So do you
suggestion,
already, sorry, let me ask you, do you already have scientific results about it, also including like the monitoring of the impacts?
exactly, there are so many studies going worldwide, and I can share.
Okay, if you can please share, this would be fantastic because as I told you, FAO doesn't do research. We promote like application of practices, right? If they suit the conditions through our project, but also one thing that we do a lot is advocacy, and we invest a lot in awareness raising. And presently, we are developing a regional platform to inform on the impacts of different sustainable soil management practices in the region. So it's site specific. We are looking, we still have to launch it, right? We are finalizing the IT development of it, but the technical specifications are already prepared. And basically, we are looking for data to pilot the system. So we are looking for site-specific data that really show the impact of a practice, like in this case, the application of the rocks from time zero to whenever over time, and show the impact not only on soil health but also on food production. So like the impact on crops and eventually also the impacts on water resources, the broader environment, and the socioeconomic impacts, because we are trying to associate all of this to cost-benefit analysis. And this is for promoting and advertising, of course, like good practices and the work that is ongoing in the region, not only from FAO, right, but there are many people doing research, doing very good work that it's worth to advertise for broader uptake. So yeah, if you can please share, I will I will send you my email address. It would be fantastic. This applies to everyone in the call that have something to share, please. And also we have a regional knowledge hub. It's called Asian the Pacific Knowledge Hub on Sustainable Soil and Land Management. It will be online very soon, but in here we are compiling basically all tools developed by countries, government, universities, NGOs, like whoever, that want to have it advertised. And this is again for the benefit of the entire community.
Yeah, if I'm given a chance to present, I can have a presentation to discuss what this science is. So I think FAO is the right organization to understand it and help in scaling up the work worldwide, especially in this South Asia where we are having huge potential to revive our soils through these nature-based solutions.
Thanks.
Thank you ค่ะคุณShima คุณ Sharma please.
Thank you so much. Taking forward what Mr. Ishfaq just now talked about national NBS, no? So as he said about rocks being used, we also, the part of the country from where I am talking, we are also using certain kind of additives, and gypsum is a common example that we have been using for salinity amelioration, no doubt. Besides that, because this area is rich in some other kind of rocks also, phosphatic rocks, so we are using them also. And keeping that one thing in mind, another thing that I have to discuss here at the forum is that there are other additives that we have worked, because I'm from a university research department, so we are working on uh, additives from solid waste. So they also have given us fantastic results. We have also published them in good journals, and now we are looking forward to scale it up. This, before it reaches the policy level, it will be a long process, I know, specifically from the country where I am representing. What role does FAO has in such things? Do we have any, common forum, or maybe something that, we can have a common knowledge sharing? Thank you.
Yeah, so again, if you have any data to show and to present, I suggest you sending them to me. We can see for integrating them in this regional platform that we are launching. So, you know, because we have like a strict quality assurance and quality control criteria, so this can also give some confidence to the government about the validity of your study. We can also have them in the knowledge hub. CESRA is also doing something for your information. They are developing a technologies and innovation database that really look also at the private sector. And then in terms of policy formulation, well, FAO doesn't have really like a mandate to impose anything on governments. So we cannot, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what country you represent. But anyway, like we cannot really go to the government and impose anything on them. We can support them on project,
I'm from
on
India.
policy.
I'm from India.
Oh, nice to
Sorry
meet
for
you.
interrupting. I'm from India.
I'm
Yeah.
also from India. So, Seema ma'am, you can share your contact. We will have later a discussion. I'm from Bangalore.
Sure, Ishfaq ji. I'm from India, and I'm actually from a zone which is prone to all the hazards that just now we saw in the presentation. I'm from actually Kutch, Gujarat, and we have earthquake, we have salinity, we have drought, and you name it, we have it all. Yet our farmers are so progressive that we are one of the top state in producing exotic fruits here. So if this kind of sharing can be done on this kind of platform, and then we, put it on black and white in through the help of FAO. It will be wonderful, actually.
What I was
Yes.
discussing already, the work is going on in India in different states, and there are very good results are coming. So I will discuss with you. Please share your email or phone number. We will have a
Sure,
discussion.
sure. I think the
So going
presenter
back,
was also
what we
saying
can
something.
do is to support policy formulation, following, of course, an invitation from the government to take an action on this. It's not, as I repeat, that we cannot impose on government, and also all products released by FAO are on a voluntary basis. So countries, if they want, they use them. If not, it's up to them. But what you mentioned is very interesting, because just this morning I was discussing some potential project ideas with colleagues that touch on waste and soil fertility in India. So again, if you can get in touch with me privately, maybe we can explore options, because I think there are possibilities.
Mhm.
I think the chat is disabled, so maybe we will not be able to share our emails, I guess.
I share my email, but I'm not sure if you see.
Which university, ma'am, in Kutch? I will see your profile there.
It is KS Kutch University. Ishfaq ji, where are you from?
I'm from Bangalore, GSI, Geological Survey of India. I work in
Wonderful.
segment
So this is a
soil.
geology and environmental science department. Yeah.
Yes, there is some similar things. We can have some interests which are
Yeah.
in line.
Sure. So how do we share our emails? I don't know if we can,
You
because
can
chat is
tell.
actually disabled.
Yeah, you can tell, and I will write.
It's seemabhargavsharma@gmail.com.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I will inbox you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think we'll try to put into the chat box and also question and answer. You can go and check it out over there. And also we have two people waiting for discussion. Mr. Ayan from IGA, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucrezia, for a wonderful presentation. And also thank you for this discussion. And we are talking about, I'm Dr. Velu. I'm representing ICR from India. Recently, we were there in Global Soil Partnership in Rome, and we were discussing this with our global partnership. Very nice for the soil governance, but I have two suggestion, or rather my discussion with you. Are we need to put that sustainable development goal, which we were discussed with part of Global Soil Partnership and ITPS, Intergovernmental Panel on Soil. So we were also considering putting the sustainable development goal, which are related to soil, particularly governance. That is one. And second, very important, there is a set methodology by IPCC and I think one more UNDP also given. So in the global soil governance, if you could put or highlight or make awareness about other countries, that what changes in soil or change in soil management, how it is capturing the atmospheric carbon or storing, increasing carbon, that we can use IPCC and other guidelines and simple methodologies are there. So by doing a better governance, how much we are able to capture atmospheric carbon and increase the soil. One is fertility, another is also we are capturing, so that we can move towards neutralizing the land degradation. So if you could put this kind of land degradation management coupled with your capturing soil by using a globally recognized simple methods, then that will add value to the countries which are working on really on soil governance. So that will also translate into regional and global benefit, and it can be also quantified. I think FAO can put this also into your method. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the remark and suggestions. Starting from your remark on the IPPC, well, we are not really tackling it in the policy briefs and in the work we are doing on soil governance, and it's a bit similar to the SDGs, right? This work is at the shallow level yet, and then when we move into policy development with the countries, then of course everything will be integrated, and their main interest is also that of reporting to the international conventions and frameworks. So yeah, definitely there will be an integration. Just for your information, this regional platform that I told you about, the ones that RAP is developing for reporting on the impact of sustainable soil management practices, align with GSP and IPPC indicators. So specifically for carbon, we are fully aligned to the IPPC. Thanks.
Thank you thank you เอ็มเอาอีเมลของลูใส่ใน question and answer ด้วยนะMr. Banudas please
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lucrezia.
We can hear you, yes.
Yeah. So I am from Maharashtra in India. We are just carrying company K-Force Lab. We are manufacturing the microbial biofertilizers since last about 45 plus years. So right now we are signed a memorandum of understanding with the Marathwada Agriculture University, Parbhani. The main motto of the MOU is to improve the soil health, and we all know that the present carbon status of the overall soil in India or globe over is around, you may say, 0.3 to 0.6 as such. So the carbon level is too low. So right now we have started the work of in situ composting of sugarcane trash as well as the banana trash, so that the immediate improvement in the soil should be undertaken fastly, because in our area the farmers are not getting their returns on the investment. It's a different ratio of investment and income as such. So that very critical problems has been raised because most of the farmers, whatever they are investing, they are not getting that much also. So the things are going in less. That too, again, the climate vagaries is also there. So to undertake the fast implementation of this program, if FAO can help to speed the matter, that will be helpful for us. And particularly, we believe in local microbial system to implement in this area.
I think we lost you for the last few seconds, but I don't know, maybe it was only from my side, but I got you. And well, congratulations on your work. Point taken. And again, similarly to the other colleagues from India, well, I hope you can have access to my email address somehow. I put it in an answer in the Q&A, but I don't know if you can all see it. If you can get back to me privately by email, we can further discuss it and also see at how to promote the work that you already did in the region. So in India, but also beyond. Through the regional platform, the knowledge hub, or by, like maybe discussing with the government or including it in projects. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
With your
much.
permission, can I add something here?
Yes, please.
Actually, what Bhanudas ji is saying, no, because the three talks just now that we had, what Mr. Ishwak said, and what I was saying, and what Bhanudas ji is saying, they revolve around a common thing that it is related to any kind of additive that we added, putting it into the soil, and that is for the fertility enhancement, and the additive has to be in such a way that it is cost effective as well. So Bhanudas ji, I have a small question, if you can put it here, that as you're talking about biofertilizers, uh, I don't know about the international level, but even in India, do we have a policy that, uh, say, for example, I will share this with the people here, that when pomegranate was introduced in this part of the country from other parts, there were agents who were working on each and every aspect of introducing that one plant to that farmer, right from its sowing to the harvesting of fruit. So when it comes to biofertilizers, do we have any kind of agent systems who can, guide people about that? Because what I make in the lab and what the farmer receives are two different things. So do we have anything of said that sort, Bhanudas ji here?
So we are in the field from last 45 years as such. So quite a long experience we had with us. As Mrs. Lucrezia also pointed out in their guidelines and recommendations as such, that methodologies for implementation and innovate the microbial biofertilizer are altogether different. Up till now, this chemical technology was there, and the methodology to implement the chemical technology is altogether different. So there are many factors, not only this. So innovation of these microbial systems are a challenging one. It requires refinement. Lot of requirements are required, and so a coordinated effort must be there from all the sides, so that the end result, the soil health. Now, presently, One Health concept is also being very much popular, which Mrs. Lucrezia has also mentioned in their recommendations and all observations. So I mean to say, it's a very big question what you are asking, has many more facets to deal with. So then only the soil health target can be observed in some percentage as such. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. So in that case, I will request the meeting organizers to, to put us all in contact with each other, because here we might miss out certain points. If that seems like a valid thing.
Maybe Sima, just to add, because I was really discussing it just like 3 hours ago with a colleague of mine about this project in India. Up to my knowledge, up to our knowledge, there is not a legislation, a regulation for the production of biofertilizers in the country. I think that was your question, right? If there is any
Yes, exactly.
legislation. Up to our knowledge, no. That's why we were considering a support in the country in developing one through a project sponsored by FAO.
And very recently we came across this thing that I need to share this with the forum here, that pomegranate was a native crop of Maharashtra and certain other states. And then when it was introduced in this part of the country, which was not indigenous. It had to be supported by the agent who brings it here. So the farmer was new, the agent knew everything, that what pesticides will go, what fertilizers will go, and right from, as I discussed, from seed sowing to the fruiting stage, he stays with that. In case of biofertilizers, unfortunately, we do not have, because what may survive here may not survive in another part of the country or any other place. So as such, we were trying to find, as a scientist that I work in the lab, that is there any policy, which you have clearly mentioned it is not. So what role FAO can play and people like us can play, and come out with certain, this loophole is a big loophole actually that needs to be worked, though it has to do with my country, but FAO has played a role in other sections, so maybe.
Yeah, so in terms of
Over
role, as I
explaining
told you,
it.
like FAO can support in the country, the government, in releasing like legislations on the topic. If you look like at something more technical, for example, standard operating procedures for the production of fertilizers, which the policy will talk about for sure, because otherwise it would not be a good policy under my point of view. FAO has technical networks like the International Network on Soil Fertility that, up to my knowledge, is working on producing standard operating procedures for the production of, for example, biofertilizer or different type of fertilizers. Now, I don't know the details of the work of this network. I was working and leading actually another network up to 3 years ago. That was the Global Soil Laboratory Network. So we just look at soil assessment. But I would say that INSAS do the same, INFA does the same. So look at the development of standard operating procedures for different type of fertilizers.
Yeah. Madam, can I respond? Ms. Lucrezia, yeah, thank you. I think Dr. Seema, first time I'm seeing you.
Yes, thank you, thank you, Dr.
Yes,
Ang.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. You have asked a well question because I am aware of it. I'm Dr. Velu, working in ICA. In India, we do have a procedure for establishing biofertilizer. It's controlled under Fertilizer Control Order. This comes from Essential Commodity Act. Okay. This under Fertilizer Control Order, different product, organic, inorganic products are notified. But we don't control the production. Production is a different part. Each state they will be controlling. But as far as India is concerned, there is a Fertilizer Control Order under which you have to register your product. So until otherwise, under Central Fertilizer Committee is there, under Agriculture Commissioner, and ICR is part of it, and we have a sub-technical committee that is cleared by ICR. So you have to produce your agronomic efficiency data and other thing. Only we will see the technical part of your production. Otherwise, as a factory, as a production unit, you comes under small scale unit or other control. So there is a small bit gap is there, I understand. But otherwise, notification is concerned, we have a fertilizer control order in line with the global practice that we do it. But production and all, it's up to the state and up to the production process they have to follow. The quality control is different. We don't control it. Okay. This is what information I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your response. I'll go to Mr. Ali Reza from Iran.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for Lucrezia for her excellent presentation. That was really amazing and truly informative. Thank you very much, Lucrezia. And also thank you to LDD and CESRA for organizing this very informative and excellent presentation and event. Sorry, Lucrezia, as you know, today is Friday and off in Iran as a weekend. I'm not in my office. Sorry for that. I just want to explain that in Iran, we are going to prepare a comprehensive program for soil governance and actually for soil health program. And in the near future, I will share with you more details. But about the some information that you ask us, and we cannot share with you because we are still struggling with exactly which region we should conducting our operation, our country operation. You know that Iran in the both regions, in the NENA and Asia Pacific region, and we are going to have a meeting next week to decide that how we can cooperation with you in this very important program. And finally, if it possible for you, please share your presentation with us because we want to talk with colleagues in Iran about this presentation. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Alireza, for being with us despite it being your weekend. I totally understand your struggle. Maybe I will send you also my presentation, no problem at all. Maybe just for your reference, I understand Iran is with one foot in two shoes because looking at the GSP, you are under NINA, but looking at FAO, you are with RAP. So if I can give you some peace of mind, this activity was requested by the ASP, but implemented by RAP, meaning that, in my opinion, Iran can participate without any issue because, as a matter of fact, the activity is with RAP, not with the GSP. So if you have any interest also in the preparation of the policy briefs and all the follow-up, no problem at all. I can support. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucrezia. So, does anyone want to share any ideas? Okay, come to my ideas. Because you did mention about development of the ad hoc project as well. I think this could be a very useful and appropriate approach for us to support the countries, especially, some country we have different contexts of soil or, those different data, different policy, and probably different institutions as well that working on soil. So I think if we can develop the ad hoc teams or working group, that could be a very good to support each country and, go directly to support with that difference in terms of the data. So I think that could be very good and looking forward for that. That's kind of like supporting your idea.
Yes, thank you. I was nodding, but better if I unmute myself. Thank you so much, Pat. Much appreciated.
Thank you. I think before we finish, I can have like one last questions if anyone want to, discuss with FAO regarding to soil health or other relating topic on soil or anything in particular in your mind.
Just last question, if I can, if you're winding up. So about this CESRA, Center of Excellence for Soil Research, how we from this country have, better exposure there, and how FAO will play that role in, putting things together. Actually, there are things, but they are scattered, what I could understand from this entire meeting. So what role is CESRA playing there?
Thank you for the questions. CESRA is actually established under GSP and ASP because our mission is going to support the data information being as a hub for the soil research in Asia. So our work or action plan gonna support SP and GSP. And FAO, well, Lucrezia can mention this better than me, but FAO, especially Lucrezia, she is our external advisor at the moment. She's helped in everything, helping us to organize activity, also some guidelines, guidance to us, also support some staff or sometimes funding as well. So this is where we work together. So Lucrezia, please add any more information, please.
Yeah, so maybe just to clarify the role of FAO. So as Pat mentioned, CESRA was established under the Asian Soil Partnership following the request of basically the member countries, meaning like the governments of member countries to FAO in Asia for having this center. And Thailand was very kind to offer to host the center and to take care of basically all the burden of establishing a new center, including the financial part. So CESRA was established just before COVID, and because it's under the ASP, meaning under the GSP, and the GSP has a strong connection with FAO. FAO is providing mostly in-kind support to CESRA. We do it mostly through the work of the FAO Regional Office for Asia and Pacific, so the office that I represent. And then if any funding opportunity arise and the CESRA apply for them, we also provide financial support to the center. But CESRA itself, it's an independent body. It's not under FAO. Was established under the ASP, but it's an independent body. I hope it clarifies.
I think I missed the connection in the last when you were saying. So just a one-liner from you, Lucrezia, that CESRA is an independent body that is affiliated to FAO.
No, it's independent from FAO. Totally independent. It's sort of affiliated to the Asian Soil Partnership, but it's an independent body.
Okay.
Its establishment was requested by the Asian Soil Partnership. The center is hosted by the government of Thailand, but it's an independent body that FAO supports somehow because of its relation with the ASP, so the Asian Soil Partnership and the Global Soil Partnership. So we mostly support them in kind, providing like technical advice, right? That's why in this case, like myself, I'm in the advisory board. And if financial opportunities arise, right? So for CESRA to ask FAO for financial support, and the CESRA ask FAO for financial support when these windows open, then we also provide financial support. But it's an independent body.
Thank you, Lucrezia. And to be more information, we have like 9 institutions from India being part of our members. Okay. Thank you. I think the time is quite good now. We run a little bit late for our sessions. Mr. Banudas, do you want to get more discussions or you're raising your hand, Mr. Banudas? Probably not. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone and Lucrezia for your participating and your wonderful presentations. And before I saying goodbye to everyone today, I would like to remind you one more time for the next CESRA talk will take place on January 2026. I believe we will have Mr. Surendan to tell us about achieving carbon neutrality in agricultural farms and assessment mechanism. And then we look forward to seeing everyone again next month. Mr. Badudas, are you going to have one last question? I see you raise your hand. and unmute your microphone.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Hello. Just now, Mrs. Lucrezia has pointed out that CESRA can financially support for soil health. So, is it possible for the project, in situ project, which we are doing in collaboration with the Vasantara Naik Krishi Vidyapit Parbhani? Is it possible to collaborate or any assistance from FAO or CESRA to improve the soil health in Marathwada region of Maharashtra, India?
So I can reply from FAO, and Pat, you can reply from CESRA side. From FAO, we have some windows. So FAO, first of all, is not a donor, okay? We usually do not allocate financial resources, but we do allocate financial resources to projects requested by countries every 2 years. We do this through what is called Technical Cooperation Program. Now, the requests for technical cooperation programs projects are usually submitted by the ministries in countries. So potentially the answer to your question is yes, but you would need to coordinate with your government for submitting a budget request to FAO with the related concept note. So we are talking about National Technical Cooperation Program projects in this case. The budget allocation for national projects is usually around $200,000. It depends on the project. It can be even less. It depends on how you frame it. But your request should be submitted by the ministry, and it's pending FAO consideration, meaning that usually we receive many requests for this type of support from the government, and we have to make a decision. So we have to negotiate with the government to prioritize topic. However, please keep in mind that technical cooperation program projects do not fund research. So if your project is about research, pure research, FAO cannot provide support. If it involves capacity building, policy development, any other topic, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucrezia, for responding based on FAO side. So from CESRA side, we right now, at the moment, we don't really have funding to support any country yet, but we can join hand working together and do collaborate on developing the proposal together, like project research proposals. Based on any topics related to soil or soil health, sustainable soil management, or whatsoever. So we can work together, and then we can submit our proposal to any funding source that's available. That's maybe the response that I can have right now based on CESRA. So I think before we leave our session today, I will give the last chance to Mr. Christian for your discussions.
Thank you very much. I wanted first to say congratulations to Lucrezia. Her presentation was wonderful. And my comments was about the budget. I think even if people do not immediately realize, but the information that Lucrezia gave today, the policy brief involving the countries, is really invaluable information. And I think only FAO would be able to collect such information. And it's really invaluable to get this to know how we can work more efficiently in the country and having an impact. So I think it cannot be calculated exactly the value, but for me, it's really incredible. I have never seen such work before, and I would like to congratulate Lucrezia and CESRA for this presentation, for that work that was really great. So thank you for giving the opportunity to make this comment, and see you next month again.
Thank you so much, Christian. Actually, you raised a good point. The information in the policy briefs can be used for leverage for funds, even within your government. So don't overlook them. Read carefully the documents and see if there is anything that can relate to your work. And I think you can really use it for, like leveraging resources within your country.
Thank you, Gretchen, and thank you, Lucrezia. So now is the time that I have to say goodbye. If anyone having more questions or discussions, you can send an email to even to CESRA or to Lucrezia. You can get her address, email address through the question and answer or the chat box here. She already typed it in. So once again, before saying goodbye, I would like to mention one more time on the next CESRA talk on January. Please join us again on achieving carbon neutrality in agricultural farm and assessment mechanisms. And we're looking forward to seeing you again next month. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to all.
Have a nice